Comics. The bane of everyone's existence. Trust me. Comics are the hardest to get into, whether you like the motion picture media or not. So I'm going to help you find a place to start. He's back! Yes, I am back. I am back. Of course, a while ago, jeez, this is a new thing that we're doing. A while ago, I had the inspiration to create a YouTube channel that uploaded exclusively comic-related content. I called it The Blitz Comic Geek, and around 2 years ago, I made a video that I intended to be the last I would ever upload on this channel. That all changed a few months ago when I got the idea to make a comic book media podcast as a form of reviving the channel. Now, the idea to make now, I promised you all my help in finding a way into reading comics, whether you are a new reader or a major fan of the medium. Of course, my name is Blitz Prime, and welcome to the Blitz Comic Geek Podcast. Now, I won't be doing this alone, and as you clearly know, as you clearly have noticed, I will have the help of one of my friends who is just as much a comic nerd as I am. And please, introduce yourself.
Thanks, Blitz. Hello, everyone. My name is Harley, and thank you all for tuning in. All right, let's get this started.
So for starters, what was your first comic book?
My first comic book, I found a Spider-Man comic book at a store, and it had this villain named Slide, and he is a really goofy Spider-Man villain. His origin story, he was a scientist trying to come up with the perfect non-stick bakeware, and he figured it out, but then the company he was working for stole his formula, and then he's using the formula to make like a frictionless suit so he can move really fast to try and steal all his money back. And so it was that comic where Spider-Man has to stop him while shopping for like Valentine's Day gifts for MJ, I think. That was the first one I read.
Yeah, my first comic book was a lot less interesting, because my first comic book was in fact a Transformers comic book.
Okay.
That was released back when Marvel Comics still had publishing rights. There was the first issue of the Generation 2 comic book. And then, aside from that, I've also read the Shattered Glass series by IDW and the Transformers the movie comic book that is exclusively canon to the UK release of the original G1 comic book by Marvel Comics. So, yeah, it's it's just, that's where my comic book journey started. But that was only like 2 to 3 years later, years after I was introduced to the my first comic book related medium that I was introduced to was the MCU with Iron Man. I was 9 years old, and my mom and my dad put on Iron Man, and we watched up until when he was the scene where he was tuning his car or something, when and me, 9-year-old me, thinking that somehow, some way, he would get bombed again because because he was kidnapped by the Ten Rings at the start of the movie. But like, I just said turn it off, and it's too scary for me. So and then fast forward to age 12, I start binging all the MCU trilogies, and 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 uh, and today, as of today, I've seen every Marvel film that is MCU canon. Aside, I mean, some, and of course, when it came to the multiverse and multiversal canon for the MCU, I only watched the films that interested me. Same thing went with the same thing came for the DCEU projects that so it's kind of it's just something that kind of started as an that's kind of my origin to comic books. So and of course, considering that I've only read a few comic books, my personal favorite, considering that I've read very few comic books, my personal favorite comic book is the G2 issue 1, and then of course my favorite movie is by far to date is Fantastic Four: First Steps.
Got it.
And the new James Gunn Superman. I have really high hopes for James Gunn as head of DC. So, so Harley, what was your favorite comic book that you've read?
So I love that Spider-Man. I don't read a lot of comics, also, but I've read some. I love that Spider-Man comic just because I think the villain is really silly. And I've read, there was like a series, I think 5, that I read of Spider-Man and Venom teaming up to defeat like Carnage and his family of evil Spider-Man and stuff. And I really liked that one.
Family of evil Spider-Man. I gotta read that.
It was kind of strange. So there was Carnage, and then there was, I think, Scream or Shriek.
I'm familiar with Scream. What was the symbiote yellow with red hair?
It was yellow with red hair, so I think it probably was. Yeah.
And then
there were like some children, they weren't children. I don't know. There was a Spider-Man. It was like an evil Spider-Man, but he had 8 limbs.
So like Man Spider or something?
Yeah, it probably was Man Spider. And then there were, I can't remember. That's the one that really stuck out to me. There were a few other symbiotes though, and then they were all like really evil. And so Venom and Spider-Man teamed up to stop them. And I think that's probably my favorite. I really liked that one. And there's like a series of 5 on that I read. And I think, for my start in the MCU, that started like a lot later, because I think my first movie was Spider-Man No Way Home, which was...
That's a terrible idea.
It was...
If you start with Spider-Man, if you want to start with a Spider-Man movie in the MCU...
No. It was Far From Home, my bad. Not No Way Home. Still not great, though.
I wanted to watch Far From Home when it came out, but because it was a sequel to Homecoming, I watched that first.
Yeah.
And then, but I didn't, but of course, I didn't get around to watching Homecoming until it was out on digital, and No Way Home was around the corner. So, so the weekend before I went to the theaters for No Way Home, I just binged Homecoming and Far From Home back to back.
That's awesome. But I started with Far From Home, and it was really confusing because I was like, who are these people? Why is Iron Man dead? What was the blip? I'm very confused. um, but I really liked the movie, and so then I went and with my family watched most of the rest of the movies and TV shows. I still haven't seen like all of the Defenders TV shows.
I've, uh, for me personally, I did not watch any of the shows.
Okay.
So if you're talking about, I mean, with the exception of the highly rated ones, which include the Defenders saga,
Yeah.
and then Moon Knight among a few others that I cannot bring myself to name because I just can't remember.
Yeah.
And with the new shows coming out, of course, I'm kind of holding back. I'm kind of not interested in watching any new MCU content until. I mean, I'm gonna watch the movies.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the shows, I'm just gonna hold off on watching the shows until I start my chronological binge with Eyes of Wakanda.
Okay.
Because the release of that dethrones Captain America First Avenger as the starting point of the chronology. And so I'm gonna wait until Secret Wars is out before binging it all.
Got it.
Or if the upcoming or at least if all upcoming projects that are released post Doomsday but pre Secret Wars take place after Doomsday, between Doomsday and Secret Wars, I can, but not sometime before. I don't want to start binging too early, just in case the timeline order gets disrupted by a release of new projects. So, yeah. Yeah, jumping back to the DC. How do you see the DCU turning out in 10 years?
So, I'm not as much of a DC fan as I am Marvel. I haven't watched a lot of the things. I did watch the new James Gunn Superman, and I thought it was really good. I really liked it. If this is like the first movie in the universe, I think it is a little weird because it introduces a ton of characters, and I think it'll make more sense as the DCU goes along.
It's the first film, but not necessarily the first project. Because basically the DCEU is still canon to the extent that because the Flash movie in 2023 may have rebooted the universe like a soft reboot.
Okay.
Caused a soft reboot, where Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, or where and Blue Beetle take place after the reset, but and then but also Peacemaker season 1 and Peacemaker and the 2021 Suicide Squad film.
Okay.
Both of those films take place take place within this new are semi-canon because there are events, because Peacemaker season 2 has a season 1 recap that basically retcons the Justice League appearing in season 1 as the Justice Gang.
Got it.
And then
like what we see in Superman.
In Superman, yes.
Okay.
And it takes place directly after Superman.
Okay.
In Peacemaker season 2, it takes place directly after Superman.
Okay. Oh yeah, because there's that Peacemaker cameo in Superman.
I didn't notice this Peacemaker cameo, but
Mm-hmm.
when watching the film, but yeah.
Okay.
And so far, release order is the best way to watch them.
Okay, makes sense.
For chronology's sake, but I think if there's if the Suicide Squad, the events of the Suicide Squad ever become prominent, the prominent enough to be directly referenced, I don't think you need to watch it. I think the only thing you need to watch pre-DCU is Peacemaker season 1.
Okay.
And then start with chapter 1's Creature Commandos.
Okay.
And then go in release order from there.
Got it. Okay. Good to know. But I think for the most part, I think this new reboot is going to be good. Because, right, Superman was really good. It was a little hard to get into, just all the characters, but it was really good. And I think that this is a pretty good start for the DCU. I think James Gunn, because he's always done great with Superman and Guardians of the Galaxy, I think he's going to do well.
Yeah. And there's often been speculation as to whether DC had a profitable cinematic universe from the start, and also whether the Marvel Cinematic Universe had all its rights from the start, and not having rights issues with Sony and Spider-Man, or Universal and the Incredible Hulk, or Fox and the X-Men. So, So this is where we want to take this film, or take this podcast, and we're going to leave it into your hands. So you be sure to hit follow and subscribe to the Blitz Comic Geek YouTube channel to keep an eye out for the upcoming poll, and starting in May of this year, we will come out with an episode that comes out every other Saturday. If there is so this poll will have 4 episodes on it, or 4 episode topics on it, if in the first in the topic with the most votes will get the first episode, but don't fret about the other 3 topics. The way we want to make sure that every idea we have gets time to shine. So from highest percentage to lowest percentage is when we'll release the episode. So the one with the highest percentage for votes will be released first, and then second, third, and fourth place.
Yes.
So be sure to follow the channel and all our Instagram linked in. Our Instagram will be linked in. Our pod will be linked in the description, and you will. And the poll will be coming out in a few days from now, or a few days from release of this episode. So,
All right, thank you all for listening or watching. We can't wait for you to see or hear what we're cooking up next.
and remember, and so remember, you are, so remember, you control this podcast. Whatever ideas you have, or whatever ideas you want to see, put them in the comments of an episode, and we will consider that for our next batch of 4 episodes. So until we meet again, I am Blitz. So once again, I am Blitz Prime.
I am Harley.
And we wish you a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you for watching.
Bye.